And spawning in the top left-hand corner of side delta, we have our German Zerg player, the blue Zerg, representing Shopify Rebellion. Whew. The last Zerg player in the tournament, the Zerg Hope himself, it is Lambo. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the red Protoss player representing Team Liquid. Just took down Firefly 2-1. It is SKillous. Here we go. PvZ is upon us. PvZ is upon us here. Looks like we're entering a standard opener here out of Lambo, Hatchgas Pool. Likewise, SKillous settling into his own opener as well. And I'm ready for this just because, I'm excited for this just because SKillous has been on the rise as of late. SKillous, he recently had a very, very impressive performance at Stars War 11 at an offline event where he went all the way to the ace match against Hero in a PvP. He took down Oliveira as well. Fun fact, there was no Zerg player. There was no Zerg player in Stars War 11. They failed to qualify. Players like Raynor, Dark, Solar, they all got knocked early on in the qualifiers. And what I mean by that is that we didn't actually get to cast much of SKillous' PvZ. We didn't get to cast any, actually. So, I do know that SKillous has been looking very strong and very powerful against Protoss and Terran players, but how does SKillous look against Zerg players? That's what I'm curious about. I think SKillous even tweeted recently after DreamHack about how was it after DreamHack or maybe after another event? I think it was DreamHack. About how he's still working on PvZ, like it's his weakest matchup and something that he's like intentionally building up. So I feel like this is a really good showing for him, a really good chance to get a read on kind of how SKillous is approaching this matchup and how he does perform. I feel like Lambo is pretty comparable in skill. I feel like when I think of the European Zerg and Protoss players, I feel like Lambo, SKillous, and a Laser are pretty close to each other. So this could go either way. This could even go to the ace match. This could go to the ace match. As back at home, SKillous going for a Stargate. Stargate opener from our Protoss player. Into Oracle, I imagine. Meanwhile, Lambo chilling, droning up. Is droning up back at home. Expanding, taking his natural. His third base as his natural. Adept does shade in, threading the mineral line, and up. We do manage to catch not quite a drone. We do soften them up, but no drone kills yet. Whew. Very nice defense there from Lambo. Does manage to retain his workers. But now that first adept is joined by a second, two adepts do one-shot workers. So we can threaten that mineral line. As we don't shade in. Back at home, it is the Oracle first from SKillous. It's going to be that Oracle opener. Zooming across the map. And for the time being, we can see Lambo being quite active. With these links, he can threaten the third base of SKillous and try to force the Oracles back home. Let's see if that's what we commit to. For now, just trying to keep up with Adepts. Third base is on the way. Adepts are in position. Nice SimCity. Is wedged between the Nexus and the Pylon to reduce the surface area. Oracle reveals itself, Lings being active. The Oracle does dip between the bases. Doesn't find anything yet. But the second Oracle's on the way, third Oracle behind this, so just a triple Oracle opener into a third. Very standard play out of SKillous, which is what we expect to see. He doesn't spice things up too much. Twilight Council follow-up. Should soon be seeing the Forge. Yeah, Forge is now on the way. At the same time, we dive on top of the Queen. No transfuse. Match. We get one Queen and one drone as well. As we did run out of energy. Not a bad pick-off here from SKillous. Keeping the Queen count low. Reinforcing now with 4 Adepts. Moving out across the map. The third Oracle has arrived. Third Oracle does reinforce. And back at home, this should be +1 and Blink. Yeah, there we go. Blink is on the way, +1 thereafter. SKillous working towards the mid-game. Can we find any damage so far? Not quite. We get an active tumor. Pick off some lings. Another active tumor going down. Just keeping Lambo's creep as minimal as possible. We dive on top of the queens. High energy queen goes down. We get one. And we're going for a second. Yeah, second queen goes down as well. Spore a little bit too late. We get the third queen. And boys are being pulled. They have to escape. They have to get away. 4 drone kills. Massive pickoffs here from SKillous. That was insane. That was 3 queens and 4 drones. For 4 adepts and an oracle. Getting a worthwhile trade for the Protoss. Lambo going for a counterattack. Stalkers are in position. Yeah, Lings are forced back. And behind this interesting Lambo, I believe, has skipped his Roach Warren. Yep, no Roach Warren. We're going for the Bailey Nest. It looks like Lingbane. Looks like Lingbane play here from Lambo. The lair is now done. And there it is, Hydrogen on the way. So Lingbane into Hydra, completely skipping Roach play. Now, this is risky to go for. If SKillous had gone for a 3-base all-in, this is not a 3-base all-in, but if he had, then Lambo would be up against the wall. He'd be in a lot of trouble. We can see that SKillous has taken gases and will soon be expanding. Meanwhile, Oracles, they do punish the 4th. Stalkers coming in. Going for the queens. Yeah, 1 queen goes down. Lings coming back home, getting ready for a surround. And can we catch these Stalkers? They go for the dive. Yeah, the recall is forced. We catch 1 Stalker. 1 Stalker for 4 drones. And a queen. Still a better trade for SKillous. And now that we've recalled back home, now we can expand. There's our 4th base that we spoke about. Again, not an all-in. But this is also good for Lambo. Like, again, Lambo's being a little bit greedy by cutting corners, by cutting roaches. Now we're working towards the infestation bit. This is going to be for Hive Tech for Hydra Lurker Viper. Lurker Tech is on the horizon. Ling run by hits the natural, but we are in position. Skills is ready. Likewise, Skills also in position here at the 4th. The Lings aren't achieving too much, but they're at least keeping Skills at home. Keeping him pinned. Now Skills is back at home. Hydra production has commenced. We should be seeing the Hive momentarily. As for now, we're sticking with Lingbane Hydra. Meanwhile, Skillous going for 2 more Robos. It's going to be triple Robo production. This could be for triple Immortal, which can do quite well against Lurkers, if we want to be preemptively setting up for that. Likewise, Storm is done, and we have 4 High Templar with the main army. Skillous is moving out. Lambo has not started the Hive. Instead, he's committing to Lair Tech. Okay. Is building up his Lingbane army. But we're catching the Hydras! The Lings are out of position. They're not here to support. That's a cancel on the base. Stormers are coming in. We have 3 storms left. Skillous has to be very careful with how and when he storms. These are 2 groups of army. Lambo setting up for the surround. Massive storm on the Hydras. 2 storms left. And 2 storms remaining. Bailing speed is done. 1 storm remaining here for Skillous, and we just ignore the main army. We're going for a counterattack with their Zealots to defend. I believe that was the final storm. We need a little bit more time for another storm, and yeah, here comes the surround. We collapse on the army. Do we have a recall? Ooh, we just barely have more storms. Archons are morphed in, but we catch whatever is left. The Stalker count reset. A beautiful catch here from Lambo. And that was a big loss for Skillous. He lost almost every Stalker, and he doesn't have many left. It's mainly Zealots and Archon, which is not ideal. Not against Lingbane. Skillous, he's now back against the wall. Stasis Trap is baited out. You can see we're trying to bait the other. Decent stasis on these Lings. Massive baiting connections on the Zealots. The High Templar, they're exposed. There's barely any support. Bailings roll in and big connections. Oh my god. We take down the Probes. We take down the High Templar. And Lambo, he is breaking this 4th base. We just don't have enough left. Yeah, Skillous, he was caught out earlier. The base will fall. And we can keep pushing. Lambo moving forward. Immortals have arrived, but it's too little too late. We needed them earlier to protect the 4th. And Lambo is busting into the 3rd. High Templar are amassing. They need more time. They need energy. Oof. As we connect in the mineral line. Yeah, and with that, SKillous, he didn't just lose the fourth base, he's going to lose the third. Yeah, Probes, there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go as the Nexus falls. And Lambo is started stepping forward. Takes down more of these Immortals. The Storms aren't going to be able to hold on. Storms are pretty good. Now we'll clean up the Hydras, but GG gets called and Lambo takes game number 1. GG. GG, well played again. Some big catches there from Lambo. SKillous was playing well. I was very impressed with the amount of queens that we were sniping, the drone kills as well. Like, SKillous was holding his own, but it was a risky moment when he moved out with his Stalkers and with his High Templar on-site Delta, specifically without a way to evacuate, without a prism, without any reinforcements, without many oracles to support in the air, and he got surrounded. He got surrounded twice, actually, in this game. Some really patient play out of Lambo, keeping Lings out in the open to come in for these big surrounds. And with that, we played out far too much. Again, in PvZ, especially when it comes to your Blink Stalkers, I mean, your Stalkers, your gas-based units, they're so valuable, they're so important, you need to retain them over the course of the game. If you ever lose them, you're in trouble. If you ever lose them, that could be the beginning of the end. And with that, Lambo able to capitalize on that, immediately counterattack, and now we're getting into game number 2. Now, I'm hoping for an ace match. I'm hoping we can sink our teeth into this and we can have a back and forth and go all the way to game 3. We'll see if that's the case. The pressure is now on SKillous. The pressure is now on, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our German Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing Shopify Rebellion, leading the series 1-0. It is Lambo. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Red Protoss player, representing Team Liquid down in this series. Can he bounce back? I'm hoping he can. It is SKillous. Feels so bad to engage with Ling Hydra into Storm. It does, but if you remember, Lambo was so careful with it. Like, if you remember, SKillous had 4 storms. He had 4 storms with his army, and Lambo did not engage with the Ling Bane. He stayed back with Ling Bane, and he was forcing out the storms with his Hydras. Remember, the Hydras that were like poking in and poking out, and storm after storm after storm was spent. And by the time we ran out of storms, then the surround came in. Then the Ling Bane came in from behind, and again, there were no storms. There were no storms left. Like, that was a really important, a really crucial moment for Lambo when he caught that army out on the map. I'm referring to the High Templar Blink Stalker that were caught out towards the end of the game. But yeah, just really methodical play out of Lambo, right? To bait out the storms, to slowly engage, to stay calm in a moment like that. And unfortunately for SKillous, he didn't know about the Lings. That's the on the flip side of things, SKillous, he didn't know that there were Lings amassing behind him, so he didn't know how much danger he was in to being surrounded. Was unaware. Otherwise, I'm sure he would have tried to retreat sooner and even tried to reinforce even to get out of there. And with that, we're settling in. We're settling into our next game. So now just a gate expand into the Cybercore, standard opener here from SKillous, likewise hatch gas pool out of Lambo. Standard openers all around. We are just calming things down for the time being. Likewise, SKillous just trying to delay the expansion for as long as possible. Just attempting to delay. As the probe is shut down and we can now expand, take our 3rd base. And we're just settling into a 3-base economy. Meanwhile, SKillous back at home. Likewise, going into his tech of choice, going to be a Stargate opener once again, and this should be for Oracle. And when it comes to the Oracle harassment of SKillous, honestly, it was really good. I was really impressed with SKillous sniping queens and drones, and more queens and more drones. And he also retained his oracles as well. It was really impressive stuff with his early game harass. Let's see if he can achieve that once again. We shall see. As Lings try to catch the Adept. SKillous getting the hell out of there. Soon to be expanding and taking the third base. As the Adept is racing back home, and Lambo wants to try to punish this. Wants to try to catch the Adept. Does get surrounded up. Oh, the Adept goes down. That will delay the third. And Probe is under fire. We do save it. Nice movement there from SKillous. Saves the Probe, gets a third base. And interesting, it is Oracle first true into a Void Ray. Ooh, as Lings, they bust into the main, they get a full scout. I mean, the Overlord Sword as well. But Lambo does confirm. Now, with this Void Ray follow-up, I'm curious. Usually with a Void Ray opener, you can hide your tech. You can hide your, potentially, Twilight Council. You can hide your Robo. You can hide your lack of Forge. Lambo is supply blocked, and Lambo is also in the dark. So we'll see what direction SKillous takes us in. What are we hiding? If anything. What are we hiding? Forge is thrown down into a Robo. Delayed Twilight Council. Okay. Interesting. This looks like the beginning of +1 Fast Immortal into... This could be one of two things. I would say into a heavy Immortal charge lock composition. By the time we get the Twilight Council, we throw down the Temple Archives. As the Twilight Council, we'll keep an eye out for the Temple Archives. If we didn't throw down the Twilight Council, it could be for a second Robo and a Bay into Colossus production. But I'm leaning towards Immortals and Archons. As we catch more Queens. How do we do it? One Queen goes down, we catch a second, and now soon to be a third. Meanwhile, Adepts, they keep the Lings busy at the natural. No drone damage yet, but now it's stacking up. And 2 drones at the third. Adepts, a shade into the main base. Another drone goes down. That was 3 drones and 3 queens. For what? For 4 Adepts. A worthwhile trade. SKillous going for the 4th. And back at home. Okay, what do we have? So it is going to be charge, not blink, which is what we assumed. But I assumed it was going to be for a Temple Archives for Archon production. That is not the case. It's going to be Immortal with a really fast Bay for Colossus. This is interesting. This is an interesting setup. I'm curious where it's going to take us. So it looks like the Immortal is just for safety. It's just safety Immortal to prioritize Colossus production, which means I imagine we should be seeing a second Robo soon. Oh, Lings, they get in! No, how? The wall was not a wall. Lings, they do slip in. This is important here as Lambo is getting a scout. Does get eyes on the Robo at least. Getting probe damage. 4 probes going down at the same time across some of Adepts. Also getting drones. It is a bit of a give and take. 7 drones for 4 probes. Now, we did not see the Bay. We did not see the Colossus production. It is important to bear in mind. As Colossus are on the way, there's a Temple Archives for Archons. Now, what SKillous is doing is really tech heavy. I don't know if you noticed, we don't actually have a ground army. Like, we don't have much at all. We have 1 Adept and 1 Immortal. If Lambo were to go for an all-in, then SKillous would be in trouble. But Lambo isn't going for an all-in. He's droning and taking up into an infestation pit. Like, SKillous is being so greedy. Like, this is his army. it's 2 Adepts, 2 Zelds. We don't even have Charge. Charge is just now finishing. So, again, if Lambo was being a little bit more aggressive and less tech-heavy, then SKillous would be in trouble. But we can see that Lambo is still taking, and SKillous is getting away with all of this. Colossus, Archons, mass upgrades as well. So far, he's getting away, but I see a Nidus Worm. Lambo throws down the Nidus Worm, amassing Roaches, Overlord speed on the way. Has Lambo recognized how greedy SKillous has been? And are we actually committing? It looks like we are. I mean, Lambo did drone up to 80. To be fair, like, he has a terrifying army. Like, sorry, terrifying economy. And the answer is no, we're going for Swarm Host. Interesting. Now, when you talk about this all the time, Swarm Hosts are viable in ZVP. They are very much so viable, and specifically, they do well against compositions that lack Link. They're no blink stalkers. What I'm referring to is that this army from SKillous is very immobile. It's very immobile, which means these Nidus Swarms and Swarm Hosts can pull SKillous apart. So we'll see if SKillous can keep up. Nice in the main, sorry, in the center base. He's shut down. Void Rage chasing down those roaches. Swarm Hosts have arrived, and we're going for the fourth. We're going for the fourth Nexus. Another Nidus Swarm being thrown down as well. Locust Wave is coming in. Now SKillous is aware. But the Locust Wave was premature. It did land ahead of time. Yeah, we clean this up. The first Locust Wave doesn't really do much. Took down a Zealot, or a couple of Zealots. I don't know if you saw, but the Locust Wave was on A move. Because it was on A move, it landed on the Zealot instead of the base, or instead of the army. So there was a bit of miscontrol there from Lambo. Meanwhile, the Swarm Hosts have been spotted. Void Ray comes in! But we have Queens. We do have Queens to support. The army does have to retreat. At the same time, Road Traffic towards left inside. The Colossus! No! We do pull SKillous apart. The Colossus are exposed. And the Colossus hold their own. Oh, just barely. The Miles! We do hold our own. Locust Wave into the natural. We're going for the static defense. Swarm Host has chased back. No Nidus Worm. Big losses here for Lambo. He's in trouble. Roaches have to fall back. But SKillous is pushing. SKillous, he's rallying everything across the map. He's going for the kill. Zealots are being cleaned up. SKillous' army does need to consolidate. But we're chasing down those roaches here. They cannot hold their own against the Archons. And the Locust Wave is not ready. We need a little bit more time. We need a couple of seconds. And now we can go in. SKillous does pull back. Yeah, more Stalkers on the way. SKillous catching roaches. Locust Wave is about to run out. And when it does, SKillous is he's gonna be pushing in. He will go for the dive. And Lambo, what do we have to defend? We have a couple of roaches. We have a handful of Hydras. And 2 Lurkers morph in. The Lurkers have arrived just in time. The Observer pulls back. The Lurkers, they had a lot of DPS here. But the Colossus, they reign supreme. They rain down on the army. Observer does survive. We take down, we have the Revelation as well. The Lurker is sniped. We have another Locust Wave. We're coming in. We have plenty of charge lots. Lanty and SKillous, he's breaking through. He's breaking through the defensive line. The Colossus do need to get involved, as they were a little bit distracted. Yeah, but this base will fall. Roaches are trickling in at the same time. Zealot run back here towards the left-hand side, going for another base, another hatchery. And it looks like we're forcing the AE smash. It looks like we are looking to force game 3. GG gets called, and SKillous ties up the series 1-1. GG. Very nicely done here by SKillous. Lambo, it was a little bit cheeky to go for the Swarm Host, but the first Locust Wave is arguably the most important, just because up until that point, SKillous didn't know. SKillous, he had no idea that Swarm Hosts were coming. He saw the Nidus Worms, but didn't see much else than that. Was maybe piecing it together, but on that first Locust Wave, got like 2 Zealots. Like, it was not a worthwhile start there for Lambo. And the first Locust Wave got 2 Zealots, the jig was up, then SKillous was aware, and he was much more proactive hunting down those Nidus Worms and hunting down the Swarm Host. A very active response from SKillous, and it did shut Lambo down. And with that, GG. GG, well played. We are going to game 3. Let's go. Let us go. I want Protoss to win, but Zerg not to lose. It is a little bit bittersweet. Like, I'm a fan of both these players. Like, I love both Lambo and SKillous. I would love for them both to have a deep run here, but the reality is that there's only enough room for one of these two. Only enough room for one player. And who's it going to be? Who will it be? As we're loading into Alcyone, one of the larger, more macro maps in the map pool. Here we go. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alkione, we have our German Zerg player. The blue Zerg representing... Oh, representing Shopify Rebellion. The blue Zerg, it is Lambo. Being forced into the ace match, can he bounce back? And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss representing Team Liquid. Tying up the series and forcing that ace match. Can he keep up that momentum? Can he take the series? It is SKillous. As a reminder, this is a quarterfinals match. The winner of this series advances on to the grand finals. The winner does make... Sorry, this is a quarterfinals match. The winner advances on to the semifinals is what I meant to say. I'm getting ahead of myself. The winner advances on to the semifinals where Spirit is lying in wait. There's a Terran opponent in those semifinals. Who's it going to be? Who will face off against Spirit? For now, Lambo rushing into the goal. Does race into the goal base. SKillous checks. He confirms that there is no hatchery. There is no spawning pool. Gas is now being taken. SKillous now knows it's a hatch gas pool opener. He's aware of the build itself, but he is unaware of the location of the expansion. Now, we're on Alkione, and at this point in the season, in the ladder map pool, it's a little more obvious that this base is being taken. It's a little more common, I should say. So this should be in the back of the back of SKillous' mind. Should be aware. But how does he punish it, if at all? That is the question. As we do spot the main art of all these drones. Do spot the main art, do saturate the goal base. You can see SKillous checking the natural location. And back at home, it looks like a standard opener. SKillous, are we going for the Stargate or the Twilight Council? As SKillous has yet to confirm, I'm a little bit concerned that maybe he believes that it's a more normal third, but I think he should be aware by now. Just because he did check and confirm that there was no hatchery here. Yeah, the Adeptus rallied here. Yeah, the Adeptus rallied to the gold. So SKillous, he knows. Third base being taken. SKillous does confirm. The pylon block a little bit too late. As the Adept does arrive. Forcing back those lings. Denying mining time. Not bad. So good pick us here from SKillous. Behind this is going to be a Stargate opener. Now, this could be Stargate into a Twilight Council before third base. I would really like that, actually. I would love to see, like, fast blink out of SKillous. We could see fast glaives, which is a riskier approach. Especially if Lambo is going for an all-in, which is usually the case with this kind of proxy. With this gold. So Adepts say, do deny mining here in the main. Adepts do shade out. So far, no major losses. Lambo has retained his drone counts. Lings, they do come in for a surround. And it looks like we do pick off... Oh my god, just barely one Adept goes down. But a very efficient trade here from SKillous. Does trade nicely. Does trade well. Overlord Scout does confirm the Stargate opener. Spores are now on the way. We have a Spore in the main, and soon to be a Spore at the gold. And SKillous is going for a third. He's not throwing down tech before that third base. So this looks like a standard setup, which is concerning if SKillous is playing standard, as Lambo is going to be able to take a lead with this goal. Twilight Council's on the way. We'll keep an eye out for the Forge. Let's see if it's thrown down. No, never mind. It's going to be a 4-gate follow-up. Okay. So it's going to be 4 gates. It's going to be a Twilight Council. Because this is after the third base, I feel like this should be Blink. It feels a little bit later for Glaives. But we'll see. We'll see if we embrace Blink or Glaives here for SKillous. Additional gases are being taken. Show us what you got. What's it going to be? Ha! Ha! It's one or the other. We still need to wait for some gas. There it is. Okay, Blink is on the way, thankfully. We're rushing into fast Blink. Now, this can work very nicely defensively. Now, there's a bit of a give and take here. Unfortunately, there's no Roach Warren. Lambo is macroing. He is not going into a Roach Rush. If this was a Roach Rush, then SKillous could use these Blink Stalkers beautifully to defend, and we could shut him down. Because it's just Ling Queen and a very delayed Roach Warren, if this was Glaives, it could do a lot of damage. Like, unironically. It would have been risky to go for Glaives, but Glaives could have actually worked very nicely here. Instead, SKillous is playing safe, and Lambo has been greedy. Lambo did not use this gold base to rush into an all-in. And to be fair, it's one of those things where SKillous, it's hard to know. It's hard to know like how aggressive or how defensive your opponent's being with this gold. So he made his choice, going for Blink. We'll give him some map control. We'll allow him to be active, and now he's going into delayed Forge, delayed Robo, into +1. Ooh, and we're rushing into a Spire. I really like this from Lambo, going into Mutas. The onus is on SKillous to try to get a read on this. Now, if SKillous... Nah, he takes gases. I was going to say, if SKillous doesn't take his gases and goes for a big gateway explosion and goes for a 3-base all-in, he could kill Lambo, but as we can see, SKillous is taking gases, which means we're working towards a would-be 4th. It means we're macroing up. SKillous is applying pressure, but macroing up behind this. Blink is now done. And we are at least forcing a reaction. We force Lambo to make Roaches, to make Lings. Because of how active SKillous is being, Lambo is respecting it. But the problem is that SKillous has not been scouting with his Oracle. SKillous has no idea what we're taking into. He has not seen the Spire. Not yet, and it's about to finish. Yeah, SKillous now taking up into second Robo, Bay, eventually a 4th base, whether it's here or on the right-hand side. Yeah, Probe is moving out. 4th is on the way, and I have to give the edge to Lambo here. Spire is now done. Spire is done. Now, I wonder, did we notice how few Roaches there are? The problem is that this isn't really too much of a tell. This could be just Fast Hive. It could be Hydras into a Fast Hive into Lurkers. It doesn't have to be Muta. So SKillous still hasn't seen enough to recognize whether it's one or the other. Now we're going for the dive. We're diving in. We catch the Mutas. Big scout here for SKillous. Now he knows, but is it too late? Back at home, we're gonna need Phoenix production. We have Colossus on the way, which will help against the Lings. Not so much against the Mutas. There we go, cannons. Cannons and shield batteries. We need as much stack defense as possible. We need to defend. Lambo does rotate around. We have Mutas on the right. We have Ling Roach on the left. Lings, they collapse on the base. They force a cancel. Big pick up. Meanwhile, Mutas dive into the main. Stalkers are in position. Lambo is aware. He backs off. Lambo, ooh, bleeding out some... Oh my, bleeding out some Mutas. Bit of mispositioning there. Meanwhile, we catch an Immortal Colossus. They arrive just in time. No! The Colossus exposed! Pulls back. Ooh, is saved. Just barely. Save the Colossus. We caught some Mutas. So far, good defense by SKillous. The problem is he's stuck on 3 bases. If we were on 4 bases, it'd be a different story, but we're stuck on 3, and Lambo is taking his own 4th. Plus, he has the gold. Sorry, his own 5th, even. So Lambo's getting up on 2 bases, or up 2 bases. SKillous desperately needs to expand. Lambo rotating around. Lambo's maxed out. Now, in a head-on fight, I want to favor SKillous, but with Mass Muta, we're not looking for a head-on fight. The goal here is to deny the 4th over and over again. Deny the 4th base with the ground army and distract SKillous with the Mutas. And here, Stalkers are going down. We have to pull back. Almost one-shotting Stalkers. A lot of Stalkers do fall. Again, because of our position, we're making sure there's no expansion here on the right-hand side. SKillous still yet to expand on the left. Now we're diving in. We're going for the dive. Overcharge is on cooldown. Lings are getting annihilated though. Really nice positioning with these Colossus. Lings go down. Mutas, are we overextending? Diving further into that natural. A lot of mutas get picked off. We do contain our opponent, but that was not the best trade for Lambo. Looking at the battle report here, you can see that was 78 Lings and 4 mutas for 11 Stalkers. It was a rough trade, but you could argue because SKillous still doesn't have a 4th, it's worth it. Like, Lambo can remax. Lambo, he is remaxed. He can afford these trades. SKillous cannot. Once again, we're going for the Colossus. We do manage to pick off one. One Colossus go down, second Colossus as well. And do we have enough anti-air? As the mutas, they focus on every single Colossus. The Phoenixes, they were out of position. Ay. We needed those Phoenixes. And now with 4 Colossus falling, now we can Mass Ling. Now Mass Ling is the answer. No more splash damage. Again, the Phoenixes, they were ready for a counterattack, not for a main push. And Lambo is going to be shutting this down. Yeah, Lings are trickling in. Immortals are falling. Stalks are falling as well. And SKillous just cannot keep up. Still no 4th base. SKillous was all in. He was completely all in. And Lambo even... Oh, catching a Phoenix. Catching 2. Almost 3. Lambo's looking to extend his run here. And diving on the Phoenixes, more of them going down. The natural base is open. Lings, they flood in. And there's only so much SKillous can do. He does pop the overcharge, but there's just too much DPS, too many mutas. How many? 26. 26 mutas. And we shut down so many Phoenixes. Phoenixes going down left and right. Lambo can still sustain himself. GG gets called, and Lambo will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the semi-finals. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Lambo. Again, it was a risky maneuver to rush into the goal base the way that he did, but Lambo got away with it. Winding it back, if you remember what happened in this game, in the other game, Lambo rushed into the gold and did not use it to go for an all-in. And remember, SKillous went for a very safe opener, rushing into Blink and delaying upgrades and delaying tech. Prioritizing Blink Stalkers, which would have been amazing against a Roach all-in, but there was no Roach all-in. Instead, Lambo just macroed. He just macroed up to 4 bases, threw down the Spire, got into Muta Tech, and SKillous, because he was playing safe, wasn't able to scout, wasn't able to punish either, and yeah, SKillous was on the receiving end of that. Did go down. GG, well played. GG, well played. With that, Lambo advances on to face off against his next opponent. Meanwhile, which semis are we casting first? Let's find out.